Oh, family, I've had a hard day, but we're gonna get right to it. We're not gonna waste any time. For those of you who were tuning in earlier, you saw me operating my Chat GPT and getting Chat GPT to teach me how to make different intros, different things like music and all kind of things you can make with BandLab, and that was the app I was on. But obviously, I don't know how to record music, and I learned what most people would learn in 2 weeks. I learned it in an hour. And so I was just talking about how incorporating these builder systems into our planning, our system planning, is a very, very important skill that we should learn. And really what it boils down to is using AI. We living in a time period where you're gonna have to use AI. You may not like it. You may not feel like, that's the thing to do. But if you don't do it, if you don't you start using AI, somebody else gonna use it. And they're gonna use it so well. They're gonna use it so well. Thank you for tuning in, family. That you're gonna fall in behind. So the intro to this has been awesome. And I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I see we have 3 viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, I really been enjoying being a student of my own teachings. Every video that I do, I always take it and I go back and I study it and I make sure that I'm applying what I'm teaching. And if I find myself in any area where I feel like I could do better, I'm gonna do better. And that's the goal, right? So we've covered we have covered so many things, family. And thank you. My wife made the shirt. I have more different things that we'll share with you about what we make and what we create. But that's unimportant. The most important thing is getting you to understand how we're able to do what we do so that you can do it. And why are you helping me? Why are you trying to help me get this kind of information? Because listen, the kind of people I do business with on a daily basis look like you. And they look like me. And if I can afford to do business with my people and see a community of people with so many economic gaps become filled gaps, then I would be a happy, happy, happy human being. And to give you the information that it takes to get there, some people go to school all their life, man, and they study for it, so they don't want to give it away to you. But I'm gonna give it away. And just to give you a rough draft of what we've been talking about, what we've been covering, family. And first of all, my name is Brother Yahya. Thank you for tuning in. This is another episode, a live episode of Buried in a Shallow Grave. Um, so just to recap, we started by showing that uh, everything around is a system. We talked about how those systems were created. We talked about why those systems don't really benefit black people. Colored people only is who it benefits. It doesn't benefit us. And the reason it doesn't benefit us because the very foundation of this system that we're currently under was created without us. And so the foundation of the system doesn't have us in mind. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we're going to have to figure out how to do something for ourselves, or we're going to suffer the consequences. Many of us are already suffering the consequences. Many of us are already on their way to doing something for themselves. But like I said, my name is Brother Yahya, and that's what we about over here. We want to share as much knowledge, free knowledge as possible, like how to go and create your own business. Once you have your own business, most people do that really fast. It's not that hard. Thank you for the like, family. I really appreciate it because I don't get on here for likes. I really want to help people. That's my desire. As a young man, I want to give information that I've spent my whole life learning. And thank you again for another like. And it just really, really, really makes me feel wonderful to know that that's something that I can do while I'm building my future as well. And so, just as a recap, family, just as a recap, I want to cover some of the things that we've been talking about. And it's so important. It's so important. It's so important that we understand that business is warfare. And that's not to make anybody upset, but business truly is warfare. And I made a post where Sister Reverend Long was talking about, thank you, family, for another like. I really appreciate that. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the shirt is true. I'm not just wearing it. And you are too. You built different. And all you got to do is just apply what the God-given talent that He put inside of you. As a young child, you had a God-given gift. And the moment that God created you, He knew what that gift was going to be. It was your job to cultivate into the human being, the person that God wants you to be. He want to see you shine. He want to see you doing your best, at your best. But He knows that the system that we're currently under is Satan's system. This is Satan's world we're in. We cannot deny that. We must know that we're living in Satan's world. And until we realize that's the world we're living in, we'll keep dipping our money, our hard-earned money, into this world instead of taking it out and building something for ourselves. So that's what I'm all about. And not just talking about doing for self, giving real solutions. If you check my live, family, you'll see where we talk about the different steps that are needed. Like, in a roundabout way, I guess most of you would call it targeted marketing. But I just basically was talking to those who are in the resurrection class that follow along with me. Um, I talked to them about the first thing that we need to do is identify in business who it is that we're talking to. If we don't know who we're talking to, then chances are, family, we're going to be shooting different posts, different, blogs, different things out there trying to reach anybody that it hits when we really have a target market. And once we target that market, anything outside of those is just a blessing. So we talk about that, and we give real information on it because it's important to know. Now, if you'll give me a second, I'm going to pull something up for you. And we're going to have a great talk. I need to go get my glasses. Your brother does wear glasses. So sometimes things get a little fuzzy. And I have to squint just to see. That comes from years and years of building erections. As a Class A welder, I've traveled all over the United States as a welder. I've made anywhere from $13 an hour to $60 an hour. And I can tell you what you can find at both ends. You find that money does not buy you peace. You find that the more money you make, the more problems you have in this system. You find that those don't have problems after they get the money if they opt out of this system. If you don't opt out of this system, if you don't have something in place to replace this system with, and you probably, some of you like, man, what are you talking about, this system? There is a system. There is a system, family, in place. And you may not understand what that system is, but that's why you're here, maybe. And maybe I can give you just a little recap of what that would look like. Okay? And I'll just be honest with you, family. I'll just be honest with you. You know, they didn't just take our land. They did not just take our land, family. We can stop crying about the land part. They took the land, but they also took your language. The very language that you speak, you don't speak it anymore. And because you don't speak it anymore, you don't really know who you are. Well, how does not knowing my last name make me a person that don't know who they are? Let me ask you a question. Some of you are biblical scholars. Some of you know the word. Thank you, family, very much. And I should go get my glasses so I can see very clearly what I'm about to talk to you about. But family, we need to understand. Not knowing your last name means that you don't know your God. You don't know your culture. You don't know your religion. You don't know your folk ways. You only know who you were after you were brought to these shores. Not on the Nina or the Pinta or the Santa Maria. You and I and our ancestors were brought over here in the holds of ships. In the holds of ships. And imagine coming over here and there being a 64-year process that a man named Sir John Hawkins put on your life. Thank you for the like, family. I appreciate that. Because I'm just trying to give my family something, not just a lot of knowledge. By the time I get through with this conversation, you will understand why this is necessary and why I know what I know. And I'm not the only one who knows it. But understand this. Names have meaning. If I find a young lady and I court her and I decide that I want to marry her, one of the first things I do to show that she's mine is what? You get her last name. Or she gets your last name, rather. So if she gets my last name, family, then she carries my energy. She carries my, not only my name, but she carries my characteristics. She is me because I've made her into myself. Well, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we've been made other than ourselves. And it started with the enemy taking away who we were. And if I take my child and I go and give him to someone in Ukraine, right? And, you know, he grows up and his children grow up and their children grow up and their children grow up. And they're never told who they are. When you come to them and say, hey, man, you know, I know something about you that you might not know about yourself. And I just think it's right and it's the right time. You're grown, you're able to make your own decisions and you're able to understand truth. So here, your mother and father are not from Ukraine. Imagine it. Imagine what that child says. He gonna fight you for a long time. You're talking about, you know, 3 or 4 generations of this child knowing nothing about his life but being from Ukraine. I'm just using this as an example. But that's what happened to you. That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came to teach us, is that we don't know our name. It was taken from us. We don't know our forefathers. We don't know what country we actually came from in Kemet, in Africa, in the motherland. We don't know. And until we realize that we don't know, we can't wake up to the fact that we are the deaf, dumb, and blind people that would prophesy that would confound the wise in the Bible. Do you understand? See, God said he would take the deaf, dumb, and blind, the foolish things of the earth to confound the wise. Answer this for me. Statistically, historically, who are a more foolish people in the world than black people? That's not a slander. That's not to down my people. As a matter of fact, it's to push us up to make us realize who we are. Because to be the deaf, dumb, and blind that God talked about means that we are the true children of Israel. Not only that, there's no other people on earth who match the description that God told Abraham would come from his seed. No other people match that description better than you and I, the black man and woman in so-called North America. So no, they didn't take your land alone. They took your language. They didn't just take our laws from us. They didn't just, they rewrote our logic. They rewrote it totally. And if you are not careful, family, you'll keep using words that were never meant to build you, only to box you in. You're not an American. You're not a Democrat. You're not a Republican. And you have to be smart enough to know that when those things were established, they didn't have you in mind. They weren't talking about you. Do you understand? You are the lost found slave that God told Abraham that he was gonna bless his seed. But those seeds would be a stranger in a strange land, by and enslaved for 400 years by a strange people. I'm gonna tell you something. There's no other people on the earth who think that these people are more strange than black people. And vice versa. They think we're strange. And it is because you are dealing with two natures. Two different natures. We are not meant at all to want to be inside of a world that don't want us. God don't want us begging to sit at the table with people who spit in your food, who disrespect you on a daily, inadvertently and subconsciously. God doesn't want that for his people. God don't want you to submit to nobody but him. But you do. And in the name of Jesus, you do it. When Jesus himself didn't do it. There's no evil entity that ever existed on this earth that Jesus submitted to. Not even the wicked Jews of his day that were trying to kill him. He even stood up against them even until death. Why do you bow and bend to this world? Well, what do you mean, brother? How am I bowing? Well, you accept anything they give you because you haven't created anything for yourself. You're not really free. We're sitting in a place where we get a little tokenism, family. A little money here, a little money there. But we're not really free. Think about it. That's why I created this ebook, Word Weapons. Because I want you to understand what you're dealing with out there. Word Weapons is a book that would help you understand the language that you're dealing with when people not telling you, since you don't want to believe that they don't want you in this world. I open up a book to show you some different realities of how they deal with you, and you don't even know that they're dealing with you in such a mean and evil way, cruel way. This is on your jobs, while you're out driving your car, you're at the car wash, you're at the restaurant. This is stuff I know that you going through every day. I just put it in a book. And I also left you some solutions to the problem in the book. And so when I go live, I'm just basically, I have a resurrection class that actually follows. And I think some of you on here, I thank these 9 followers, 10 followers who have been on this live. My name is Brother Yahya. And family, I'm not on here trying to, be anything that I'm not. I'm just a black man married to a black woman with black children in a world that don't want me to be all that God created me to be. This isn't me saying something about this world that many of you don't know. You know every day from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you're not really free. And you know that the enemy don't want you in his world. You know this. But you don't have anything set up, so you feel hopeless. But you're not really hopeless, family. You're not really hopeless at all. What's going on is you need a system in place. You need a system in place, family. Okay? And that's what I'm here to do. I want to help you create that type of environment for yourself. Let me just show you something. There are so many gaps that need to be filled in our economic world as black people. And I'm going to explain some different things to you to put that on your mind. I may have to go get my son, my beautiful son. His name Malik. His name is Malik, and he may have to join in with us on this live. But some of you did not come here by accident. You're being carried because God has been carrying you, and you've been carrying something in your spirit. You've been carrying something, a knowing, a desire, an understanding that you can't talk to with everybody because everybody don't understand. And that's a great, great hint that you understand that there's more to life than just hustling. More than just surviving and thriving and reacting to problems. More than just repeating old issues decade after decade, year after year, month after month, week after week, day after day, second after second. You've been sensing that shift in your life. A hunger for order and a hunger for a change. We all need clarity, a vision for something that we can see lived out in our lives or in our children's lives. But we must begin to build. And maybe no one around you understands it. Maybe no one sees your hurt but you. That's okay, family. Don't worry about that. There he is. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my little guy and we'll finish this live. Sit with daddy. Okay, sit with me. So, you know, truly, family, this evening, tonight, wherever you are in the world, you're not alone. Not even with me and my little baby. You with us. And we're building foundations. That's what we're doing. We're not here to join no scheme team. We just got some information to give you. And not just for the day. We do this every day, 2 to 3 times a day. This is for the world that's coming. And there is a world coming after this one. And what I'm about to tell you, it will give you the motivation that you need. Okay? Listen to me. A hustle can keep you moving. Okay? A hustle can keep you moving, and that's good. But only a system, a real system that you put in place can keep you rising. Do you hear me? Okay. A hustle, I told my resurrection class day before yesterday, a hustle is like riding a bike. It's like riding a bike, and it's like riding a bike uphill. You're moving, but as soon as you stop pedaling and you stop pushing, you stop progressing. As a matter of fact, you will degress. You will go back. And I made the analogy of a train. A train is powerful. It eventually ended up replacing the bike. I mean, it wasn't its real replacement, but it was a better way of travel. That came after. Okay? Yeah, the one-wheel bikes that existed long ago. And this train, as it came along, you know, instead of you putting it on the back of a horse or carriage or a bike, you would put it in a train for it to travel. A train can carry families, cities, and even different futures to come to different parts of the world. But even with all the power that the train has, without a track for that train to be guided on, the train goes absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So it doesn't matter how expensive the engine may be. Listen to me, family. It doesn't matter. It don't matter how skilled the conductor is on the train. If there's no track, then there's no movement. And when the track is laid properly, the train becomes unstoppable. The train gives it purpose. The track gives it the train purpose. And the track also gives it direction. Thank you, family, for the likes. I've never had 7 likes on one video. I'm just telling you the truth. But it's because I'm not trying to trick nobody. It's because I'm trying to be honest and help my fellow brothers and people all over the world. People don't want to be lied to no more, man. People tired of people coming on here trying to trick people into doing something that they don't want to do, man. They don't want to do it. They don't want to go to the zoo with you. What they want is freedom, justice, and equality. And so if you got information that's so good, why don't you give it away? Why don't you give it away? Because once you start giving the information away, you don't have to worry about all the other stuff that really you shouldn't worry about anyway. See, I thank God. I thank him so much for what I've learned. Man, I've seen brothers, man. I've seen brothers pet. Thank you, family, for the likes, family. Family, I've seen brothers from my neighborhood, one of the worst neighborhoods where I come from. Still, they're in the pedal stage, and they pedaled their whole lives. Their mothers were peddlers, their fathers were peddlers, and their grandfathers were peddlers. And so when they come up, they became what they saw. Fixing cars has no set hours, right? Selling clothes, no set hours. With no follow-up lists. Making shirts, no pricing system. See, that was hustle. All that was hustle I was watching. And that's being a bike. And that's what I teach in the resurrection class. Family, we got to go from, thank you for the likes, family. Thank you very much. Because we got to go from being a bike peddler to being a train on the track. What are you talking about? Building better systems. That's what this is about. It's about building better systems. And I am going to show you how to do that. So thank you, family. This is your brother Yahya, man. I am so thankful to have you all on here. Please like, share, and subscribe. I know you have a cousin, a brother, a sister, a family member, a friend, somebody that might need to hear some of this information. As me and Malik sit here and we try to operate in the best way to give it to you. Okay? So yeah, that's what we're trying to opt out of. We need better systems in the black community because we don't have great systems as it is. We have great business. We have great creation, but we don't have great systems. If we did have great systems, so many people that look like us wouldn't be making money off of systems that we should be making money off of. If you scroll TikTok, you'll see people that don't look like us creating really, really nice things that cater to black history, that cater to black suffering. And I talked about that in one of our lives. Why aren't we doing it? We have a better right to those t-shirts than they do. I don't have anything against them. They doing what they're supposed to do. But why aren't you doing it? So that's where we're going to go from. We're going to go from doing that to doing what we know we should do. And that's building better systems. So let's get deeper. What's next, Brother Yahya? Before a system, family, was ever built, there's always chaos. Always chaos. And what we got to learn as black people that, when we do things by ourselves, yes, there's less chaos. But there's also less growth. And a lot of us want to do things, we don't want to include other people. But we have to do better. We have to get better. Because until we can become an economy, we haven't really succeeded at building better systems. And I'm going to teach you how to build systems where you don't have to beg people that look like you to do business with you. They're going to want to do it because you fulfill a need that they have. Your business will have different gaps filled within your community, and you'll be a lot more successful, and you'll have a lot more time. That's the goal here, is to teach you how to become a better system so you can be a better system. Okay? That's right. My son is teething, so thank you, family. Thank you very much for the likes. Thank you for tuning in to something other than me on here. I'm not on here talking about anything nasty, or you don't see me on here, no women on here shaking their behind. We're talking about self-development, and we're talking about economic development. We're talking about social development. And we're talking about how to build systems. You know, before structure, family, there was struggle. And before any structure in anything, there will be chaos and struggle. You might as well just get that in your head. And when the time comes where you face either chaos or struggle, don't run from it. Take ancient Rome, for example. Before they laid the roads in that province, uh, merchants struggled through mud hills trying to get food from one town to the next. Soldiers would arrive late to battle trying to eat or trying to get food before it reaches the other cities. So what did they do? That was a problem. That was a big issue in Rome, right? What did they do about it? They saw the problem. What was the need? Huh? They didn't hustle harder. What did they do? They stole ideas, but they built roads. That's my point. They built roads. They built roads. Why did they build roads? Because it was a better system. Roads with direction. Roads with purpose. Roads with order. Because someone looked at the chaos and said, look, man, we need to build something better. This is not going to work, right? That's how every true system is built. Did you know that? Every true system is built that way. And, you know, black people in America, we need to know this. You know, it wasn't built from ambition, but from clarity. Somebody sat down and thought out a plan of what needed to be done, and they made it happen. We were born into someone else's system here. And by being in someone else's system that's not ours, we become the product and not the producer. And every now and again, you know, a builder is born. And when that builder comes through, like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's not just about hustling. He did something that no other black man did. And he taught us about freedom. Freedom in the most sincerest manner and the most probable manner. Because he built systems. FOI and MGT for training. The Final Call newspaper. These were the messaging systems that they used to get word around. And still to this day, farms and bakeries for our own food supply. The Muslim program. All of this, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did to create a better world for us, correct? That's systemization. That's resurrection in blueprint form. And so what we talk about here is how to go about doing those things, family. You can't deny that we need them, right? We do need them, right? We need better systems, right? So every day I spend time, I've got lives, I've got ebooks I want you to go look at. Many of them are free. And all it takes for you, some of them are really short reads. And all it will take for you to do is just go pick it up and read it for yourself and gain this knowledge that we all need so that we can go on to that next level. Ain't too many people giving away free stuff these days. But I know something. And I understand something. If I uplift and empower my people, we'll be a powerful, powerful people. And I believe like that in you. Just like Marcus Garvey and so many of the greats believed in us. We have to have a generation of people who believe in us. Okay? So, we know We know what kind of condition we're in. We know where we are. We just trying to figure out a way to get out of it. We know that before we ever picked up a textbook, the world had already picked up a scalpel on us, and it used it to cut away our history, our dignity, our self-image, then label the scar civilized. Hell, we didn't ever ask to be civilized. If this is what you call civilized, we never asked for this. And then they get mad and upset when we don't appreciate it. Why would we appreciate this? We were forced into something. When you had the taxation without representation, nobody forced you to come over here. You had the choice. You got up out of there because you was going through hell. It's just the truth. You may not like to hear it, but that don't mean I'm not going to tell it. And many black people are telling it, and many black women are telling it. And a lot of them don't want to hear it, but there are a lot of people who do. There are a lot of people who are tired of it as us. And they're willing to listen for the first time to see if they were lied to, because a lot of them are realizing, hell, they were lied to. What if I told you, family, savagery was not what we were before we came here? It's what we were taught. We were taught to be savage. It was a conditioning process, a system that conditioned us to savage characteristic. And it designed an identity created to justify exploitation. That's a fact. You can't deny it. The system was never just about chains or plantations. Never. Never. It was built on ideas. Ideas that turned humans into property and chattel slaves. And I'm telling you, man, the effects of it are still alive today. So we need an understanding. And the scripture said, in all thy getting, get an understanding. And so that's what your little brother is trying to do. Now I gotta feed this little guy. He's hungry. You see him? He ready to eat. So I'm gonna go feed my little man. And I thank you all for tuning in. And even though I can't see, next time I come on, I will be able to see. I thank you, family, for tuning in. I thank you for all the likes. Share, 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 share. Share my little man. And share the truth. Thank you, family. Peace.